Thank you for teaching clinical reasoning by authoring a virtual patient case. In Step 1, you'll create your virtual case and use your teaching skills and creativity to help develop clinical reasoning. Before you begin, be sure to review the HIPAA de-identification standards for protecting client health information. Create a title that will help institutions and trainees find your virtual patient case. Now, select the ideal trainee level. Groups include beginner, intermediate, and advanced in undergraduate, graduate, and postgraduate medical training. Selecting basic sciences and other keywords helps medical schools and hospitals find your cases. Enter a complete word or phrase and click the search icon or press Enter. A list will appear with the National Library of Medicine medical subject headings, MESH, terms matching your search. Choose one or more clinical specialties to help medical schools and hospitals find your cases. Enter a clinical specialty and click the search icon or press Enter. A list from the American Board of Medical Specialties will appear with terms that match your entry. Click on a specialty to be added to your list. If the case is intended for trainees who are early in their training and who may benefit from a traditional case, check this box. A traditional case is one in which the trainee is presented with clearly defined categories of options such as history, physical examination, diagnostic tests, and interventions. Save your case description. In Step 2, you'll provide an understanding about how your case supports the trainee's education. Click Start Here, then Prerequisites. The introduction helps the trainees prepare themselves for the case. It may include objectives, recommendations, or a description of how trainees may begin the reasoning process needed for this case. Enter this information in the Introduction and Prerequisites text box. Save your work. In Step 3, you'll draw trainees in with encounters that help them understand the patient's current situation. Click Encounters, then Clinical Vignette. The clinical vignette is a story to help engage the learner. This will set the stage for the initial encounter. Additional vignettes will be created for each of the encounters that trainees will be presented in this case. Be creative in unfolding the story or situation and make it as real and engaging as possible without identifying the patient. Enter this information in the clinical vignette text box. Save your work. To create additional vignettes and related encounters, click the plus symbol and repeat the steps for each encounter. Each virtual patient may have up to 5 encounters with the healthcare provider. Next, create options for your encounter by clicking Encounters, then Options for this encounter. Options represent actions the trainees may take to provide care for the patient and can range from critically important to contraindicated. Use the PE tab to create the options for the physical exam. Enter the system or body part examination information. Create identifying keywords by entering a term or phrase, then select the desired entry from the list that appears. Keywords will help the trainee find your options using a natural language search. In this case, we'll create keyword entries for vital signs and pulse. If trainees enter these keywords, this option will appear to them for selection. In the Findings text box, provide a full disclosure of the results. Providing a good mix of creativity and truth to engage the trainee may motivate them to search for the next best option. Use the standard formatting tools to format your content as needed. For each case option, select the appropriate level of importance related to the decision the trainee has made about the patient care. This shows the trainee how important the option is for proper diagnosis and care. Explain your reasoning in the last text box. This will help trainees gain a deeper understanding of why this option should or should not be chosen. Save your work. Create a historical question for the patient or caregiver. In this case, we've already created an entry and will add some related keywords. Again, as trainees enter keywords, entries will appear for selection. Select a keyword and it will be added to your keyword list. If a keyword is important but not found in the list, click the plus sign to add to the keyword list. Enter the answer that the patient or caregiver might provide to the question, along with any comments you'd like to include. Select the appropriate level of importance for the historical question, as well as your reasoning, and save your work. Interventions can be managed on the Interventions tab. While the category tabs are listed in a traditional manner, you should feel free to add options in any category anytime. On the DX tab, create a diagnostic test and related keywords. In this example, CT of the chest has been added. Similar to the other options in this case, the keywords results, feedback, and reasoning will need to be entered. On the DDX tab, enter a search term for the differential diagnosis. A natural language search of ICD-10 terms will appear. Click the More link for a description of the full diagnosis. Select the appropriate term or terms for the case, and they will be added to the differential diagnosis list. The list can be reordered by simply dragging a diagnosis into a different position and dropping it there. To delete a diagnosis, drag it from the list and drop it on the trash can. The most important diagnosis should be at the top, followed by decreasing importance. Enter a critique to help the trainee understand why you included specific diagnoses and why you ranked their importance as you did. The trainee will see your differential and the critique when he is comparing his own differential diagnosis to yours. On the Strict Order tab, drag and drop the options that have been created so that the most important options are at the top. This will need to be done for each encounter. This provides trainees with an opportunity to evaluate the order of their options as they compare with yours. Use the colored boxes at the top to filter your options by importance category. These boxes also show the number of options meeting these criteria. Use the Priority Groups tab to drag options into one of 4 groups. Some options take place simultaneously, and these can be grouped accordingly. Use the More Stuff tab to set time limits or the number of options a trainee may utilize before their scores are recorded. These restrictions will require trainees to make more careful selections while under the pressure of time, or limited number of selected options. Save your work. In Step 4, you'll summarize the key teaching points with a case summary. Click on Conclusion, then Summary, to write a brief overview of the case with key teaching points that the trainee should have learned. Save your work. The clipboard may be used to temporarily store text for future use. Information here is automatically stored and can be accessed at any time. Click on Resources, then Review to see the reviewer evaluation and comments. Review the Entrustable Professional Activities for Entering Residency guidelines to understand the 13 activities that all medical students should be able to perform. This will be useful when creating your cases. Finally, in Step 5, you'll review and submit your case. Click Resources, then Trainee View to navigate the various fields and options that the trainee will be presented based on the case you created. Click Author's Case to return to your virtual case. Finally, click Conclusion, then Done to complete your case for review. Thank you for using Clinical Gestalt.